Hello all, welcome to Tech with SAS. In this video, we will talk about designing RESTful URIs. This is the part 3 of the REST Web Services series. In the previous two videos, we talked about the various concepts of REST and comparing it with the SOAP services briefly, along with how HTTP inspires REST. So in this video, we will talk about how can we design and utilize the best practices when we are designing the RESTful URIs. So let's start on that. To begin with, understanding designing the RESTful URIs in a best practice manner, because there are no as such hard and fast rules that you follow this, but there are certain best practices which are being followed by industry. So, like for example, you want to design a social media application. So, in that application, you will have a user that will be having the profile will be having a data which by which we can uniquely identify the person, right? Then whenever this person is active on the platform like Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, what they will do, they will write some messages on the platform, and their friends or their followers will be doing some likes, shares of the messages, or commenting on that, right? So, this is like a very basic, typical structure of any social media application, where we have a person or profile which produces some messages, and a person can like some messages, or they can comment messages or on messages, or like share or like them, right? So this is the typical structure of a relationship among the various actions which we perform on this platform. So now if you want to design such application, so first step, you have to define the RESTful URIs, right? But for example, you want to create application which is not RESTful, like a normal web service or normal website, right? So normally what used to happen before REST, we always had kind of the action based like URIs. For example, if you want to get a message with message ID 12345, so for typical web application, you want to have the URLs or URIs, you will have like get messages dot do, then the query parameter. So the normal websites or normal web services will have the action-based URIs. But when you talk about the REST, in REST, we normally have the resource lookup. So, for example, same thing if you want to write in the form of REST-based URI, you write like this: messages slash message ID. So this is like a typical example where which we use like for REST web services. So if you go ahead, right, suppose you want to write what are the best way to write the various URIs for the REST full web services. So for example, if you want to access somebody's profile, right? So like you can have like a slash profiles profile slash SAS. So here profiles is basically kind of a plural when you are giving the profile ID. So in generic terms, what we are doing in our UI, our URI will have the slash profile name in a variable format. So this is how you can define this URL. And for example, if you have messages, right? So, and you want to retrieve any particular message, suppose message ID 1, then what will you do? You will give like this slash messages as slash 1. Similarly, in a generic sense, we'll have like slash message ID in the variable form. So here the main difference from the website URLs that whatever URLs which we are defining, they are basically they are nouns, not verbs. So all these things like profiles, messages, comments, likes, all these are the behave like a noun in RESTful web service, not like a verb. And now you understood, okay, so how we can define the RESTful URIs, right? But now the various entities in the RESTful, suppose your application, you have a message ID, you have comments, you have likes, right? So how they are linked? So how can you define the relationships between the URI resources? So for example, uh, I will take the same scenario. Like here, suppose you want a message, right? Yeah, there are many messages for any profile, and you want to see, okay, for message ID one, how many comments are there? What is the comment two? So what will you do? You will define like this: slash messages slash one slash comments slash two. So here, what we are doing, we are trying to retrieve the message ID 1 and then finding the comment number 2 on that. So if you write in generic terms, this is how you can write. So you can see here how messages and comments are linked with each other. Similarly, I mean, it's only example, but when you design your application, you should be very thorough with the relationship among the various kind of nouns or various resources in your application. So now, for example, you want to see, okay, message ID one has got how many likes, or what is the like ID two? So you can define like this. So this is the way by which we can define the relationships between the URI resources. Then, like we till now, we talked about the messages or the comment, right? Which had the like a similar value. So among maybe thousands or millions of messages, we have a message ID and we want to retrieve it, right? So these, whenever we want to retrieve by ID and we have the concrete URL where we can uniquely identify a particular resource, then we call those URLs as a instance URLs. But sometime if you want to see like all the messages in your application, so what will you do? You can just typically define like this slash messages slash. So this will bring all the messages in your system or your application. But I don't think it's very meaningful because if you have all the messages, maybe if in a big application there might be in billions or maybe millions. So what will you do that? So there are not many use cases where we are going to utilize these kind of messages. So these URIs. So basically, you have to always think in terms of use case, whether this use case is practical or like feasible or make a business sense in for your application. So, for example, if you want to see, okay, for this particular message ID, I want to see all the comments. So, like this, you can get all the comments. So, these are called the collection URIs. So, whatever we learned earlier, they were the instance URLs or URIs where we had the particular ID of the resource and we retrieve based on that. But here we are trying to retrieve all the resources linked with that particular hierarchy. So these are called as a collection URIs. So these are the two typical type of URIs, and I mean these are the just example point of view. So for every application, for every use case, we have to define using these best practices. Now, when we have defined the URIs, right? So now, suppose you got all the messages, right? So how those messages can be inferred by the users? So they might want to show on the web page, like a page by page, right? So that's why filtering and pagination are very important. Like here, user want to read from 10th message. and in the chunk of 5. So this is how these are the query parameters you can define and filter the results based on your requirements. So filtering and pagination is also really important concept when you are designing your URI. So based on your use case, you can give the options. Okay, my user might be needing to display these many rows or these many profiles, maybe messages in their application. So maybe you can expose these kind of REST URIs, which can take up the dynamic parameters, query parameters, and they can produce results which are useful to them directly. Similarly, suppose you want to provide the messages produced or written in the month of June. So these kind of the query parameters are useful. So pagination and filtering is a vast topic. I will cover it later. But for now, if you have a big result set and you want to filter or you want to help pagination, then you can utilize the query parameters like this, right? So with this, I think this is done for this video. So thank you very much for watching my videos. Please share my videos among your friends so I get more reach. And see you next time. Also, please leave comments or questions. And if you want to want to see some videos for any particular topic, you can tell me. I will try to create those videos as well. And please subscribe as well. That gives me good motivation and encouragement. Thanks for your support.